Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we're going to be adding to the relationship series. We have a great couple, Alex and Sarah Dumas, with us. Great couple that's doing some really neat things to make a positive difference in the life of others. And I'm so thankful to have them on. And so first, I just want to say thank you guys for taking the time to dive into the relationship series.
Thank you, Chip, man. We're excited to be here and, great to be a part of your program. So ready to go get it.
Let's go get it, baby. Well, if you don't mind, I'll just kind of go into, who each of you are, and we'll start with you, Sarah, if that's okay. Just kind of talk about, who you are, where you're from, and how it was for you growing up.
Sure. So actually, Alex and I grew up in the same neighborhood, but unknowingly, we had two completely different experiences growing up there. So I am a child of divorce. My parents separated when I was younger, like around 9 or 10 years old. So a lot of my teenage years was a lot of acting out and just kind of like trying to get attention and everything like that from my parents because of everything that they went through. My mom went through a whole like mental health spiral after my dad left. So it was a lot of stuff. By the time I was 15 years old, she was admitted to her first mental institution for a couple of weeks. She had to stay there. And then there was another incident about when I was 17 or 18 years old. So just to kind of paint a picture a little bit there. And then, her being a single mom too, and never having to work before she was a stay-at-home mom until my dad left, and then so she was thrown back into the workforce 10 years after having no experience in the workforce. So it was just a lot of challenges there. And then when I was between the ages of 17 and 18 for me, I went through domestic violence, sexual assault, and also the loss of a child. I had a miscarriage. And so that was another thing that kind of added to my whole traumatic experience kind of in my teen years. And so when I first met Alex, there were definitely a lot of challenges that, a lot of baggage that I brought into the relationship because I met him when I was 18, right before I turned 19. So.
And I'll just say this before we go on. You needed an Alex in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now go ahead. I just had to throw that in there.
No, it's okay.
Trust me, I needed her more in my life.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So I think I'll stop there because then it goes into the evolution of just like our relationship. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, for me, like she said, we grew up in the same town, a few miles apart, but really didn't cross paths since I'm a little bit older, a couple years older than her. But, my experience was quite the opposite. I'm the youngest of 4 children. My parents were together for over 30 years. My mom passed a few years ago. So, but that was the dynamic. It was them as a couple, but not necessarily as a couple that showed like PDA, really affection. I can really count only a few times I've really seen my parents like kiss or hug. That's, the West Indian Haitian kind of culture. They just weren't expressive that way. But for me, I kind of grew up feeling really lost and feeling invisible for a lot of time. I grew up in primarily white Catholic schools, private schools. So I was always one or two of, my skin in the room. So it was always kind of that weird target, that weird microscope. And made me feel really self-conscious about that. But I love sports, love playing, and then playing music. But eventually, kind of phased out of that. Getting into to drugs, stealing, violence, just hanging around with the wrong people. Being depressed, and for a long time I was really lost. So that's why I kind of joked about you saying like, oh, Sarah came along to save you. Like, no, she helped pull me out of like some really dark places. But compared to her, my struggle was like it's really nothing. It was light. But I had those challenges and had those those things holding me back, those blocks of I'm not good enough. I couldn't really connect with people. I ruined every relationship because all my attention was get drugs. That's all that was fueling me. And I was just looking for a way to escape. So that was my world up until, me and her met, and then things started to change.
Well, before we go on, I know kind of where it goes to, because you and Alex, you and I have talked, where it's led to. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And so I think, and the audience don't know this, but they're about to find out. But now I'm just kind of visualizing like a Venn diagram, and you have like two circles, and we have, Alex, we have a circle for you and your experiences. And then we have Sarah, we have a circle for you, and we have your experiences. And then you put the two, there's that area that's in between us, the shared experiences. And I think it's awesome when you can take the backgrounds, your experiences like you've had, and then mesh those together. Man, amazing things come out of that because, like you said, you needed Alex. No, I needed a Sarah, And so when you put those two experiences together, it's great how you help each other heal, if you will, how you bond, you learn one another, your negotiables, your non-negotiables, all of those things. And it's a fun journey to do that, well, most days, most days it's a fun journey. But even in the tough days, it's when you really love the person, it's still a fun thing because you're learning one another and you're learning and growing together. Well, talk to us about how you guys met. And then a little bit about the relationship, how you met and, where you are in your relationship as far as time, years.
Yeah. So I'll take you guys back on a little trip back to the end of 2005. So this is basically November, December, around that time. And, at that point in my life, I was really just a loser. I was really just messing up with life. I mean, I was in college. I was going to school. I was doing the things I was supposed to do, but I really didn't have a plan or purpose. I had like a little part-time job, and I wasn't doing anything special. I couldn't see anything special for myself. So at that time, my move was going onto MySpace. So I'm really dating myself right now.
It's so
I was on MySpace. I was creeping around trying to like message girls, trying to see girls, whatever, and we had a mutual friend, and I came across Sarah's profile, and I don't know, something just stood up to me. I was just like, oh, okay. And I DM'd her. I did all the textbook things wrong. Like I didn't even friend her or anything like that. I was just like, I'm going right for it. I'm shooting my shot. And I literally said, what up? Nice pick. That was it. That was the move.
So, Sarah, how did that work?
I have literally, so this just goes back to like, it must have been fate or whatever, because like, I literally told him, I'm like, I don't know what made me respond to you. Like, I get those messages like all the time. Well, at that time I was getting those messages all the time. Like and I literally had just came out of my whole situation. And so I was like sworn off men, and I'm like, I'm not doing this, like whatever. And I was just like,
all men are evil.
Yes, I was really, it's sad. I remember my mom said something to me at one point because we were talking about I forget what we were talking about, but I was like, well, all men cheat. I was like, you just have to like learn how to deal with it because that's just what it is. And she's like, what are you like, what kind of warped like thinking do you have? And I'm like, no, like that's just like, I really truly believe that at that time. So I told Alex, I'm like, I don't know what made me respond to you. Like, you were lucky. You just caught me on a good day because usually I completely like would have just like been like, whatever, like, boy, bye. But yeah, no, something told me to, I think we exchanged AOL Instant Messenger screen names and then we started going on AOL.
Yeah.
So if that's another like really dated thing.
Yeah, she was on my buddy list and we kept going back and forth for like almost a week. And then one day she was like, hey, I'm bored. Like, come pick me up.
Oh yeah, I told him, I was like, I was like, take me out to the movies. I'm bored. And he's like, okay. So he called me on the phone so I could tell him how to get to my house. We never met before. And he was like, okay, I'm outside. I'm like, all right, I'll be right out. Like, he didn't even get out of his car. I just went into his car and like, and he's like, you're crazy. Well, now he's like, you're crazy. Like, I could have been any kind of psycho. I was like, you don't know the psycho I was. So, like, you had to watch out for me. What you talking about?
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
That's good, man. So from MySpace to AOL
to like random blind dates,
to dealing with psychos, to beauty. So talk to us about now. You know, how many years you guys have been together and your family, and kind of, you know, because I know you're doing some things too. Some of the things that you're involved in now, based off of your relationship.
Yeah. So we're coming up on our 15-year anniversary, and which is also going to be our 11-year marriage anniversary.
Yeah.
So, and you were going to say something, so
yeah, I would just say a lot of that time together has just been a lot of work. You know, we get a lot of messages or responses from people like, "Oh, you guys are so lucky to have each other," this and that, and it's like, in a sense, yeah, we are lucky that things came together for us to meet at the right time, the right place, and we were in the right situations. But it's really been a matter of us working together as a team, us really constantly evolving, constantly growing together, and doing our part, on ourselves first, and then growing as a couple together, and if there's things that she's interested in, whether it's a book or something like that, or a movie for me or music, then we're both going to be interested in that, and to a degree, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be totally immersed in her stuff. She's not going to be immersed in my things, but I have to at least have an understanding of, okay, this is the wave that she's going on. So let me support that. If it helps her get better, then I'm all for it. And vice versa for me. If she's like, man, you're like into all this stuff, like, yeah, this is what's helping me grow. This is what's helping me evolve. And I would just say that, like, for couples out there, to not get into the routine or think that you're comfortable of, okay, I got him or I got her, now I can just kind of coast. For me, my mind is always like, I got to keep winning her over and over. I got to keep being who she needs to fall in love with, like, all the time, and not in a pressure situation, but just like, I got to keep up. I got to keep going. I got to keep growing and improving. I think she has the same mentality too, and that's what keeps us together, and we're best friends. That's really the foundation of everything, is us being friends, us trusting each other, us respecting each other and each other's opinions and values. So
yeah, and it doesn't, a lot of times, like, there's this misconception, I guess, that people are like looking for like their perfect match, and they expect this to look like beautiful, like rainbows and butterflies all day, and they're like, it shouldn't have to be hard, it shouldn't have to be work, it should be easy, it should be all these things. And it's like, no, it's like, in the beginning, I mean, even with me, when anybody who is a survivor of anything traumatic, whether it's sexual assault, domestic violence, like war, going to war, military people, anything, right? A bad car accident, whatever. You have to, the other person has to be receptive to, like, letting that person kind of develop through their triggers, and also being open and receptive to listening to the other person express what those triggers are. So, and also being the survivor of whatever, being able to feel comfortable like communicating what your triggers are. So for a long time, I didn't even know necessarily I was having triggers. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm lashing out, I'm acting. He's like, what are you like freaking out about this thing for? And I'm like, like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm super triggered and I have no idea that it's even a trigger. I'm just like feeling all these emotions and whatever. And so it was a lot of, I mean, for my part, it was a lot of therapy, self-development, all of these things that helped me identify like, what are my triggers, and helped me identify like, okay, when something like that happens and it just sparks an emotion in me, like being able to identify that as a trigger and then being able to communicate it to him, and for him to have the respect of, it doesn't make sense to him for me to not be comfortable with something, but for him to have enough respect for me to not do it. Just be like, okay, you telling me that that's going to set you off, or, you know, like you're uncomfortable with that or whatever. I won't, you know, I won't do that. I won't go there. I won't, whatever the situation is, I won't, you know, I won't put you in that situation to make it worse. So there's a lot of that too, with just like, we experienced that a lot in the beginning. And I mean, I still, it was maybe like 2 years ago was my last like trigger episode. A trigger came out of nowhere and I'm like, I don't know why, like, I'm just like super triggered right now. And we had to like talk through it, and he got better like on his responses. But that's just like, you know, kind of the nature of going through it, like giving each other grace, being willing to communicate and listen to each other, and like without the judgment, right? Like if somebody is having an issue with something, even if they're not a survivor of something, but even just they have an issue with a particular thing, just showing them the respect of like, hey, you're my partner, I support you in how, you know, your feelings are validated, and you know, I'll do what I can to not have that be a hinder, instead of like, oh, you're crazy, like just whatever, get over it, like approaching it with
don't push it down, be open.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a huge difference that we have just seen, like between how we have worked through things, and then even like sometimes clients that come to us or whatever, and just being able to help them like switch that mindset is definitely like a huge milestone, I would say.
You know, it was hard for me to just, you know, let you finish with that, because I wanted to go church on you and give you amen. Amen, Sarah, amen. And it was hard for me, but I did it, okay? But you hit on some key points that I truly, you know, believe in. I think, you know, you have to, just like you said, Alex, I think you have to learn to be the best version of yourself first, so that you can be the best version of yourself for others.
Yeah.
And we definitely, you know, we are all a work in progress. None of us are perfect. I think if we can assume one thing, is that we're all broken. You know, we all make mistakes, you know, but then that's where that magic G word, grace, comes in. You know, you can, you know, give grace and listen, and, you know, like you said, judgment-free zone, and just show support. You know, like it's not about, you know, okay, that's your thing and I'm just listening. You know, like it's not about, well, what are you know, putting that down. Like that's not good. That's not a good plan, you know, at all. But you know, just, you know, having a space, it's a judgment-free space, giving grace. And I think when you give grace, it sets you up to receive grace too.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's really important, because, you know, especially when you're in a relationship, you know, somebody's gonna make a mistake. You know, nobody's gonna be perfect, like I said. You know, but just, you know, if you can just say, hey, I blew that. You know, sorry about that. I messed that up. You know, what do we need to do to move on? And then from there, you know, you work together and you move on. And I think that builds, you know, when you have reps at that, it builds your relationship strength, I guess, your relationship muscle, to help you continue to grow and be stronger, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's hit on just some tips for couples. You know, what are some things that you think advice that you would give couples to help them have successful relationships?
So one thing is, like, you kind of said it earlier with like the I forget exactly what you said, but basically just want to drive home the part of like, oh, when you were saying like we're all a work in progress. That's true.
Yes.
Like, even how we are, like, we still, like I just mentioned, just 2 years ago I had like that trigger that just popped up, and I've been, this has been now 15 or so years ago. So just recognizing that, like, there is never this picture perfect situation. There's, like, a lot of people strive for the perfectionism, and then they get lost in the thinking that, like, it has to be perfect, and like there's this level of success that gets reached that, like, it never goes wrong again type of a thing. And it always does. Like, there is no perfect anything, whether it's relationship, business, life, whatever. Like, you're always going to have these things come up. And it's just a matter of, like, giving each other grace and giving yourself grace, and, like, being willing and open to, like, there is no magical solution of, as soon as you walk down the aisle, when you walk back down married, you're now good forever, and everything's supposed to be candy and rainbows. Like, that, if anything, that's when the work starts. So,
right.
So
similar to a baptism, you get your sins washed. Marriage, you make that commitment. It's go time. This is the start. Most people think the wedding is like, all right, well, we're good, we're done now.
Like, that's the finish line.
We're just getting started. This is where the real rodeo, roller coaster, whatever you want to call it, begins. Just to add on to a tip we would give to somebody, I would say really start to begin with the end in mind. And this is not to think about it like, oh, I'm going to design this person the way I want it to be. You're not going to have a Prince Charming. You're not going to have a princess. I came from dirt, and Sarah's helped mold me into a man. And I think for most couples, having the end in mind as far as where are we going as a couple, and these are some of the conversations we had early on, where it was like, she kind of was like, hey, what are we doing? Like, what's really good? What's up? You know what I mean? And,
what up?
Yeah. And that's how we talk. Like, that's how we were, kids. And it was just came to that point, like, all right, I got to flip the switch. I got to take myself to another gear, to another level. Yeah. I just think, mindset's so huge with that of, what do you want your legacy as a couple to be like? What kind of fun do you want to create? And really, about creation, we are creations in our DNA. We are the children of the master creator. So as a couple, I want to create fun experiences. I want to create great memories. I want to create a great legacy for my kids and my kids' kids, and so on and so forth. And I think me and her from the beginning had, it wasn't this crystallized, but in the beginning it was us understanding that, hey, we're going to be together and this is going to be it forever. Like, I'm not going to go through multiple marriages. She's not going to do all that. I'm not going to be at home during the day and then hang out with the boys at night and, poker nights and all this stuff. I mean, that's fun. That's fine if you want to do that. But really from the beginning was like, it was kind of the mentality of us against the world. And that's been our mindset from then and still.
I love that, man. I love that. I think when you talk about that, it reminds me of commitment. I think, when you are, hey, I signed up for this, I'm wholeheartedly committed to it. And so I think when you have that understanding, and each person on both sides have that understanding, well, you already determined and you've already beat anything that you're going to come up against. Right. Like when you said that, it made me think of that. And like, hey, like, I don't know whatever problem we come across. Hey, we've already beat it because we both decided that, hey, we're in this together. Like, we're going to make it happen. And, bring it on, suckers.
Yeah.
Let's go. We go. Let's go. I got my boxing gloves on. Let's go. All four. We got four hands coming at you.
Round three, okay.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
And I just want to add some like encouragement on that part too, because I feel like sometimes that message can come across wrong, where it's like, well, I'm 10 years into this relationship and we didn't have that conversation yet, so I guess it's like we can't change or whatever. You can have that conversation and make that recommitment at any point. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out, 20 years, 10 years, 2 years, whatever. So the important thing is like getting on the same page, making that commitment to each other in a genuine way, right? Because we're not just talking about, I'm just going to say it, but I'm not going to like make sure your actions align with what you're saying.
Yeah. And then another thing I want to hit on too is you have to continually have checkups.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How are we? Hey, this wasn't good for me. Can we do this? You have to have those open conversations, because, what you enjoyed 15 years ago, 5 years, you don't enjoy that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of things. And so you have to have personal evolution and growth. And also, as you're having that personal evolution and growth, you have to have that growth and evolution together.
Yeah.
So it has to be continuous communication and checkups and those kind of things, and making sure, hey, we good? Okay, what we need to work on,
And even with the checkups, that brings up a good point too, like of just even being open to calling each other out on things.
Yeah.
Because like one of my things, just for like to help one of my triggers is like I can't handle the like random, we're sitting like on the sofa, it's night, and you get a text from your friend. It's like, I'm going to just go over there and hang out for the night. I'll see you later. I can't handle the last minute thing. Like it has to be, I need like some kind of notice, whatever.
Communication.
One of my things. So like, for example, it was like, actually, I think that was one of the things that triggered about 2 years ago. That was just 2 years ago that we had to have that talk where I'm like, hey, we kind of had that re-communication about that just really triggered me. Like I let him go just because I was like, oh, okay. Like it kind of like shocked me for a minute. I was like, this is random. Like you never do that. And it was just like over to like a neighbor's house or like across the street or something like that. But still, it was like, they were like doing a random guys' night for like the boxing things or something like that. He's like, I'll see you. And I'm like, I thought we were watching a movie tonight. Like, okay. You just like, it triggered my, my feelings of like abandonment. And so the next day I was like, yo, that like really like, I thought I was going to be good and I am not good about it. We need to like talk about it. And, and so that was just one thing we worked through, and like him having to like he's like, okay, I won't do that again. Like, thank you for the reminder. I kind of forgot. Because it was one of those things that it hadn't happened in a really long time. So he just was acting on the impulse of, like this awesome thing is going on. Like, I want to go. And forgetting about the like that kind of commitment. So it just needed that reminder. So,
and that's a perfect example of I'm sorry, let me cut you off. But that's a perfect example of the growth.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like perfect example of, hey, this is what's wrong. Hey, okay, well, let's talk about it. Hey, this is how I felt. Okay, well, I'm gonna do that again, And so I think, as you have those reps, because reps make us better, like I said, now we know, hey, I got a plan. If it's an issue, we got an impulse thing, but won't you come with me? So you feel better about it, and it's great stuff. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be in a relationship like that, where you can grow together and have continued growth. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, before we get off, talk a little bit about what you have going on as far as your couple business. And I want to give you opportunity to talk about that and talk about where people can go follow you and check you out and show you some love.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are unveiling something we haven't really done in in the space of really packaging something together for folks in the sense of you know a marriage coaching program. We're going to call it, it's called Roommates to Romance, and this is really a way for couples out there, and like Sarah said, no matter what stage you are, newlyweds, kind of been together for a little bit, or even just OGs, 20, 30 years, whatever it may be, but it's really an opportunity for you to look at how to really reconnect again and how to get away from the space of feeling like, you know, we're going through the mundane, we're going through the same routine, we're doing the same thing, there's no growth. And this is kind of our way to help support you growing together and really recommitting yourselves to the relationship. And you know, you may be a business owner, you may be an entrepreneur, and you may be finding yourself in that workaholic zone. And it's like, it's work, 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 work. You're missing on the birthdays. You're missing the anniversary. You forgot about even telling your lady or telling your husband that you love them for the day. You forget to make cereal for the kids, whatever it might be. We want to help you kind of slow that stuff down and really focus on putting the relationships as the priority again. Because for us, as you know, business, whatever, if we're not good, if our foundation is cracking, that's gonna show up in everything. I'm not gonna be able to communicate on a Facebook Live. I'm not gonna be able to do a podcast. I'm not gonna be able to connect with potential clients. And same thing with her if I'm upset with her or she's upset with me. So we got to make sure we're on the same page. We're operating as a team, and we're going to give people those tools and really customize that for your relationship. As not a one size, this is how you do it, these are all the models.
Yeah.
It will really be us working with you one-on-one intensely for a few months, and it's going to be fun too. It's not going to be like, ooh, not pointing the fingers, but it's really looking at how can we help you grow as an individual and then help you in your marriage, your relationship grow. So Roommates to Romance is something we are unleashing right now. And for your folks out there, we are doing a founding members I guess deal or something that's
offer.
Offer where we're gonna. They're still gonna be working with us one-on-one, but it's gonna be in a shorter time frame. We're gonna do this for 12 weeks, and it's gonna really give them an opportunity to experience us and experience the growth of that program, and really have a great time and create a great marriage. Anything you want to add to that, or?
No, I just pointing out, because a lot of people ask this too. A couple of questions that we get is, it is one-on-one and it is customized to what you need. So there isn't really going to be a group setting. We might have like a Facebook group just for like different members to connect on the outside. But as far as your personal things that are going through in your marriage, like confidentiality is number one for us.
Yeah.
So that anything you don't want out there is not going to be, we don't put anything or talk publicly about any situations. And then the other thing was, oh man, I just lost my train of thought with that. Confidentiality.
We covered the customized,
Yeah.
So really, the way to connect with us about that is, we'll have a conversation, and let's have a conversation, see what your needs are. And you can go to abundancedaily.com/roommates to romance, no dashes, no spaces in between. It's all one word, abundancedaily.com/roommates to romance, and set up a call with us, and we'll definitely see how we can best support you.
That's awesome, man. Well, before we get off, I got a little funny here. I was like, I don't know if y'all saw this, but like when each of you guys were talking, the other one was like looking at the other one. And like it happened like 3 or 4 times, right? And so on my end, I'm like, oh, man, look at them, But that's a great thing, man. I think it's awesome that you guys, like I talked about earlier, coming from your separate experiences, but coming together and making them. And then the beauty of this is, man, it's awesome when you can take the things that you've experienced and learned and use those to help other people, like you guys are doing with your Roommates to Romance. And so not only will it also allow you continued growth, but it will allow your experiences to help others and help them have continued growth. And so, man, I just wish you guys the best of luck in your journey. as a couple in your relationship, as well as in what you're doing to help others. So thank you so much again for taking the time to hang out with me.
Yeah,
No,
thank
I
you
really
for having
appreciate
us.
Yeah, appreciate you, Chip, man. God bless you and your family, man.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode, relationship series. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.